Yo, what's up guys, my name's Hakiii and it's safe to say HSW has just taken over in GTA Online. Although each HSW vehicle is gonna run you a few $1,000,000 and is very expensive overall, they do consist of some of the best vehicles in the entire game, and a lot of the focus on vehicles in general has focused specifically on HSW upgradable ones. So the Banshee GTS holds the new record for the fastest sports car in GTA Online. It actually has a crazy fast top speed, and surprisingly the handling of it is not too bad, because usually when you have such a high top speed you would have to sacrifice a bit of traction, and this thing does slide around a little bit, but it's actually relatively controllable. There are a lot of other fast cars that are way less controllable than this one. This should definitely be your top choice for drag races, let's say, and even around the track it's very good as well. Now it is a record breaker for so many different categories because 1, it's the fastest sports car, 2, it's the fastest non-HSW vehicle, and it's also the fastest HSW vehicle, of course, all in terms of top speed, meaning on whatever platform you play on, it is going to be the fastest vehicle. Even for people that don't have an HSW upgrade available, it's still a great option because the highlight of this thing is the speed of it, and it's a great vehicle getting from point A to point B, so highly recommend it. It is an absolute monster and considered a fan favorite by many people in the community already. Just under $2 million for the base price of it, and then on top of that the HSW upgrade is another 1.9 million. It's also a Monitech upgradable with the missile lock-on jammer, which is pretty rare. You don't see that with a lot of vehicles, being both HSW and a Monitech upgradable, meaning it's a very safe vehicle to drive around in free roam while being extremely fast with it as well. So all of the upgrades will definitely be really expensive, and you gotta expect to pay anywhere from the mid $4 millions to $5 million in total to have a fully upgraded HSW Banshee GTS. Then we have the Naobi, which is another fan favorite. I feel like these two vehicles I feel like should be the most talked about HSW vehicles just because they're so neck and neck, and both of them are amazing. Now the Naobi is a little bit more of a balanced car than the Banshee GTS. The Banshee GTS, easily the highlight of it is the speed of it and then less in handling, but I absolutely love that the balance of speed and handling with the Naobi is pretty much 50-50. You're getting great speed with it, not as good of speed as with the Banshee GTS. It is a tiny bit slower, but it's very slim margins, but the handling and traction of the car is definitely much better than the GTS. So it really depends what type of person you are and what you prefer for driving a car in races and in free roam. For me, handling is really important, and honestly if I had to choose one of the two I would go with the Naobi, but that's just personal preference because some people wouldn't mind the little worse handling with the GTS and a little better speed. As I said, the margins are really small, and so for races it really depends what type of race it is. If it has a lot of sharper turns, probably go for the Naobi, but if it has a lot of straight aheads, might want to use the Banshee GTS. I absolutely love the 50-50 balance with the Naobi because the speed and the handling are equally good. Next one is going to be the best HSW motorcycle, and that is the Haku Drag. Now an awesome way to make money using an HSW vehicle is of course doing the HSW time trial. It's by far the best paying time trial in the game, paying you over $250,000, and it's typically really easy as well. And so the Haku Drag is my #1 choice for time trials, and I'll tell you why. I prefer using a motorcycle for time trials because realistically there's less of a chance of crashing into something with a smaller vehicle like a bike. It's got a great top speed and the traction is absolutely insane. It's basically impossible to spin out with this thing, and although the Banshee GTS does have a little better top speed than this thing, chances of crashing with the Banshee GTS are much higher than with the Haku Drag. That's why I prefer the Haku Drag, because everyone knows that NPCs sometimes make the randomest turns to make you crash into the stupidest things, and more likely than not that's going to make you have to restart the time trial, and it's just going to take more time than needed. So definitely go for the Haku Drag, although there's a lot of good choices for the HSW time trial. After using a few different vehicles to complete it, I do recommend the Haku Drag. Next HSW vehicle is a really interesting one. It's an electric vehicle that acts very different from a lot of other vehicles. The Cyclone II has some ridiculously fast acceleration, but then the top speed isn't as good as some other ones on this list. I want to say it has the fastest acceleration out of any vehicle I've ever tried in this game, apart from rocket boosted vehicles of course. I feel like the 0 to 60 with this thing is like barely a second, and so we have a car here that has insanely good, almost unrealistically good acceleration, pretty bad traction, and okay top speed. So it's an interesting vehicle, definitely different from what we talked about so far. I have completed a good amount of HSW time trials with it, so it's pretty good for time trials, but again, I would recommend the Haku Drag over any car. As for all HSW vehicles, expect to pay at least $3 million for a fully upgraded one, the most expensive ones being more towards $4 to $5 million, like the Banshee GTS we talked about earlier. The next HSW vehicle is a bit of a different one, and it is going to be for people that love causing chaos in GTA Online. The weaponized Ignis might be the fastest weaponized land vehicle in the entire game. It's a supercar with an extremely powerful machine gun on the top of it. This machine gun can blow up any street car within a matter of a few seconds. Doesn't matter if it's a little car, doesn't matter if it's a big truck, it's gonna blow a lot of things up very quickly. We usually see cannons as powerful as this one on a tank or like on a weaponized helicopter or even on an AC-130, so this being on top of a supercar is actually crazy, and it's very unique that it's an HSW upgradable supercar with such a good weapon on top of it. And just to give you perspective on how powerful this thing really is, I'd say it's probably around 20 times more powerful than the minigun on the Night Shark. I think that's pretty much the same minigun as we have on the Buzzard helicopter, so if you know the minigun on the Buzzard helicopter, it's way more powerful than that. A lot of people are into muscle cars, and so the HSW upgradable muscle car that you should go for is definitely the Vigero ZX. That is easily the king of that class. It has a crazy fast top speed for a muscle car, and in many people's opinion, it's also one of the best looking muscle cars in the game as well, and it's one of the best drifting vehicles out there, so if you're into drifting, the Vigero ZX is perfect for that. Driving it around, you're gonna notice it's a very drifty vehicle, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, just because I don't expect to be doing the HSW time trial with a muscle car like this, just because there's way better options. Since it is a muscle car, you can also do the wheelie with it, so if you hold RB, or I believe it's R1 on PlayStation, and then hold gas, let go of RB or R1, you're gonna go absolutely flying. Like, the front of the vehicle is just gonna jump off the ground like crazy. I'm so bad at keeping it up, but some people are really good at keeping up the wheelie for a long period of time. The Hakiii GTO Stinger TT holds one of the fastest top speeds for an HSW car. It's just under the Banshee GTS. It used to be the #1 fastest before the Banshee GTS came out, and now the Stinger TT has a little worse top speed, a little worse handling, and overall the Banshee GTS is literally better than it in pretty much every category, which does take a lot away from it, but it still is a really good vehicle, a really fast one. And so if you have to choose between the Banshee GTS or the Stinger TT, if you can only get one car, definitely go for the GTS. But if you have a lot of money to spend and you don't really care as much, definitely get the Stinger TT. It is another really fast car you can use, and it does act a lot like the Banshee GTS, where it has really fast top speed, but the traction is not nearly as good. And testing out both vehicles, I feel like the Stinger TT tends to spin out a little more than the GTS. As an honorable mention, we also have another vehicle that you can get through the career progress tab. By completing 25 files in the garment factory, you can actually get the Firebolt ASP, which is a really cool truck. It handles really well, really easy and fun to drive it around, and I thought I'd mention this one for people that do have the expanded and enhanced version of GTA Online. What other HSW cars do you really like? Let me know down below in the comment section, because there's so many good ones, but I had to choose only select one. So leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new for more awesome videos like these that you do not want to miss. Feel free to help us get to 200,000 subs, that would be much appreciated. And now that you know the best HSW vehicles in the game, click the video on screen now for the best Amani Tech upgradable cars. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.